We're Keka and Manu.
And we're traveling around the world.
Follow us. Welcome to this new video. It's our first trip to Lanzarote, an island shaped by volcanoes, wind, and the ocean. We're starting here at Janubio Beach in the southwest of the island next to the salt flats. This beach has black volcanic sand, and if you look closely, small green fragments appear mixed in the sand. They're olivines, a mineral of volcanic origin, rich in magnesium and iron that forms in the Earth's mantle and reaches the surface during eruptions. I left with a handful of them. In Lanzarote, they can be found naturally on several volcanic beaches, and this is one of them. From the air, you can understand the landscape better. Everything here is solidified lava, ocean, and constant wind. Right next door are the Janubio salt flats, the largest in the Canary Islands. They've been operating since the late 19th century and continue to produce sea salt in an artisanal way, taking advantage of the sun, the wind, and the water of the Atlantic. Today, they're a protected space and one of the most important areas for migratory birds on the island. We leave the coast behind and continue by car towards the south, bordering the volcanic coastline towards one of the most unique areas of Lanzarote. Well, we're starting our visit to Lanzarote at the Charco de los Clicos, also known as the Green Lagoon. The weather isn't great, but let's see if we can see the colors of this fascinating green-colored lagoon. It's inside a volcanic crater open to the sea. The green color is due to some microscopic algae mixed with part of the filtered water from the Atlantic Ocean and minerals. Right here where we are is the El Golfo viewpoint, and we're going to take that little path that goes over there. It's about 200 meters to the Charco de los Clicos itself. Of course, access to the lagoon and swimming is absolutely prohibited since this is the volcano's natural park and it's fully protected. They recommend coming at sunset because the colors are wonderful.
Look at the color formation of this mountain, where we go from red to black to brown, and the mountain is also quite smooth. It must be because of wind erosion to finally end up in the green of the pond. To be honest, the landscape looks like it's on Mars. Spectacular.
The crater was formed during the 18th century eruptions, the same ones that gave rise to much of southern Lanzarote. The sea enters through underground filtration, not through a visible channel, and that's why the water level changes with the tides. All this landscape has been protected since 1987 and is part of one of the best preserved volcanic areas in the Canaries.
Now we're going to visit the village of El Golfo. And of course, while we see everyone walking here, which is only 200 meters to do this stretch, everyone with their hiking boots, sneakers, we continue with our life in flip-flops.
Well, the little village of El Golfo that we're heading to is a fishing settlement formed after the Timanfaya eruption in the 18th century. It's a quiet place of the typical white houses you see all over Lanzarote, which often combine green and, in some cases, lovely shades of blue. It's especially known for its excellent restaurants right on the beach, and of course, for its incredibly fresh fish and its delicious limpets. Actually, it's become famous because it's a starting point not only for the Charco de los Clicos, the one we just saw, but also for some important trails on the island like the one to Los Hervideros or the Janubio Salt Flats, where we started this morning. The little village itself is super tiny. It's true that it's beautiful, it's the typical village with little houses all right next to the sea, and walking around is a delight. What's clear is that I think there are more restaurants per square meter than houses.
A recommendation when you come early, because this gets packed and we're not even in summer.
This is one of those places that don't usually appear in tourist guides. It's not particularly easy to get to, and if you don't look for it on purpose, it goes unnoticed. From the main road, you have to travel several kilometers along a dirt track without signs until you reach this part of the coast. What we're seeing are lava platforms that reached the sea during the great 18th century eruptions. As it cooled, the basaltic lava fractured and created natural depressions that over time the ocean filled up. That's how the Charcones were formed, which depend completely on the tides and the state of the sea. From the air, you can better appreciate the terrain's geometry. There's no sand, it's all volcanic rock, shaped by the water, the wind, and the salt over hundreds of years. On calm days, they look like natural pools, but here, the Atlantic is never completely still. This coastline faces the open sea and receives direct swells. There are no reefs to slow the water's force, and the currents change quickly. A larger than normal wave can come in without warning, even when the sea seems calm. In the Canaries, the sea is spectacular, but it's also one of the most dangerous in Spain. Every year, there are accidents from getting too close to the edge or underestimating the waves. Watching, enjoying, and keeping your distance is the only safe way to be here. This landscape doesn't forgive mistakes. Respecting the sea in places like this isn't a recommendation, it's a necessity.
If you're planning on coming to Los Charcones, it's really important to make sure you bring water shoes, at the very least. The reason for this is that, honestly, it's true that if you try to walk around in flip-flops, especially when your feet are wet, it is definitely not a good or safe place to walk. We've chosen water shoes. Look at the salt forming here.
How beautiful this part is where they are.
Look at the color of this little pool, how pretty.
And look, from above, it looks like we're used to white sand beaches, and from above it has that pool effect, I mean like a white sand beach. And yet, as we get closer, it's like the little algae. Or any kind of marine life. I won't get into those details because I don't know, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's basically something stuck to the black volcanic rock that gives it that effect.
There are sea urchins on the walls, it's full of urchins. The black things you see are urchins. No, I almost stepped on a sea urchin.
Did you step on it or touch it?
I put my hand on the urchin by a millimeter.
I was going to slide down here, just like you would on a slide, but there are actually 2 sea urchins that are this big. So It's impressive how much wildlife is in these little pools, and we try to disturb them as little as possible. I just found this little seaweed floating around, super pretty, but you put your hand down and there are lots of tiny little shrimp, many very small shrimp, that come and stick to your hand. Lots of sea urchins, lots of crabs. And some other little animals we don't recognize, little bugs carrying things around, and you see them walking over the rocks. It's a joy, that's why you have to be very careful when you come here. Step as little as possible and use them as little as possible. Just a quick dip, trying to respect all the little animals that are here. I try practically not to even touch the wall so I don't hit any sea urchins for obvious reasons, and because this is their habitat, it's not mine. But it's honestly a real joy to be here, and over there you can see Manolo, who is talking to that gentleman, the one who also happens to live in another caravan nearby. We just saw him a little while ago cleaning some small crabs by the water, and now he's kindly going to give us a sample of those crabs so that we can cook them ourselves right here in the camper. That's the life. I don't think I've ever eaten crabs as fresh as the ones I'm going to have today. It's so nice to find such kind people. How the little pool fills up throughout the day, not just from the constant crashing of the sea, which is often so strong that it brings water directly into the pool, and from other little pools right next to it. Well, they fill this one up. You can see lots of little fish on the bottom too. And it's impressive to know that you're bathing on volcanic rock. You can see the cracks in the ground from what were once burning lava flows. There comes Manolo with the feast. Thank you. My father used to say that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's a phrase that has followed me my whole life. Anyway, there was a man there cleaning something, and I decided to ask him what it was, and he very kindly offered to prepare a few for us. How wonderful, right? Fresh.
Half a kilo more or less, 10 minutes of cooking with coarse salt, and eat it cold. He says it's the closest thing to lobster.
Wow. That's something.
Let's change to another little pool.
Look, Manolo, how impressive, and we've been in many pools. But besides the fact that I love how the red lava looks, because we're not used to seeing it, how noticeable it is. Do you see the lava at the bottom of the pool? Beautiful.
This one right here is the biggest pool there is, and where everyone goes. For now, we're staying here. Look what a spectacle.
Thank you.
Look at this absolutely spectacular little spot right here, huh?
I'm definitely going to jump in here.
Wow. Hey, it's 2 meters deep there,
I woke up all the crabs and all the marine life. Spectacular. It gets your heart racing. Well, this is what they've given us, and you can't even imagine the delicious smell of the sea it has.
Looks great, incredible.
And how heavy it is. I mean, we have quite a bit of money in crabs here, huh?
Well,
in a little while?
Exactly. In a little while, we're going to cook them and show you how we do it.
It's our first time, but we're going to follow step by step what the man told us.
Man, if we like it, there are plenty of crabs here to catch.
You have to learn, Manolo. One of the few things you have left to learn.
Well, we took a little bit of salt from the sea and...
There we have it drying. Let's hope it doesn't give us the runs. Show it.
Here we have the salt. Tonight, a delicious, delicious dinner. And if it's good, we'll have to go catch crabs every day. Explain to us, Keika, what are you going to do?
An experiment, first of all, because we don't know about this. Well, we already have the water boiling. And pay attention, this is sea salt, literally. We took it straight from the rocks where we were swimming, gently crumbled it, and left it out in the sun all morning. I hope it doesn't give us any stomach ache. When in doubt, I'm only going to add a little. Actually, it's just like the salt we use at home. It's a bit damp, but it seems to be the same as what we use at home. Well, and now let's get ready for the magic.
Wow.
Let's dump in the little crabs. The man was really generous because he gave us a lot. I'd add a splash of some oil because I have to add virgin olive oil to everything. Well, they're covered in water now. Let's hope for the best.
10 minutes, he said.
10 minutes, yes. Let's start the timer. We'll cover them and be back in 10 minutes. Well, the 10 minutes of cooking time are up. It looks like this, and we like the look of it so much that we'll use the broth. We're going to save it to make some rice or something. And we'll let it cool down before putting it in the fridge, because the man told us they're best served cold. So we're just cleaning up. Just look at what it's released. The color alone shows this is going to be delicious.
Well, we're finally tasting the crab. Rebecca is having a special golden beer, supporting the local brand. And I'm having a fruity white wine, Temptation, with this wonderful sound of the sea in the background and this beautiful starry night we're having. By the time I finish talking, she'll have eaten it all. Is it good or what?
Delicious.
Yeah?
Look, we don't have anything to open it with. So this is, as we say in the Canaries, the rough way.
What does that mean?
Bite into it, use your teeth.
Well, let me see. I have some pliers right over there, you know, so I'll just get them off camera.
You'd actually do it, wouldn't you?
Sure. Well, you know, that's what they're for.
Try it. It's amazing, huh? Seriously, it's amazing. I'm not just saying that. I'm going to take the camera because I want to see Manolo's reaction. Here.
You gave me a big piece, huh? It's actually got meat, you know? Wow.
I didn't expect it to be this delicious either.
It's good, huh? Well, it's very tasty. Wow, the crab is good, huh?
And it really looks like...
If you serve this as lobster to most people, they'd eat it right up, honestly. Besides, the crabs around here are, they're big, these red crabs, they're huge. Spectacular. Thanks to the guy from Cordoba who gave it to us, it's great.
If you're watching, just know that this tastes like heaven.
We're going to enjoy this evening and our AliExpress lobster.
Not the lobster, but the light. It's from AliExpress and it's making us a bit nervous. Well,
cheers.
Bye-bye. I'm sorry, but I just had to record this. Manolo brought out the pliers. That's just life in the country. Manolo, please.
Look, hey, look. Can you give me one of these really tough legs to try?
Move so it can be seen. Seriously. Can you believe this? That I have an electrician husband and we have to deal with this lack of light? This one, look. Here, this one. But you can eat this just fine without... One day we'll die.
See how the shell cracks, and now you can peel it better.
Nothing your teeth couldn't handle, man. Oh my goodness. If we die, come look for us right here where we are. In paradise. Well, Manu?
Look, I even have, see if you can tell, my fingers are all wrinkled from so much. peeling and tasting because it's delicious, spectacular.
Let's see, because if not, I think it's visible better now.
This is a real treat. It's just so good. Honestly, having a dinner here with about half a kilo of crab, it's so tasty. It really tastes like the sea, and it even smells like the sea. I'm honestly speechless. Tonight's dinner is truly spectacular.
Next, we'll tell you all about this abandoned project on one of the island's most fragile stretches of coastline. In 2013, they fenced off this entire area. However, there are already parts where the fencing has fallen down. We're going in at our own risk, but be careful. We're appealing to people not to come and visit these ruins, from what we're told, because the whole story we're sharing today was verified by someone who experienced it firsthand in real time. A few years ago, a man came to cut 2 columns from here to take the iron. Subsequently, this entire section collapsed. The rest of the building, and we'll tell you exactly where we are in a moment, the rest of the building isn't in ruins, it's still standing, but obviously here the sea, the salt air, and the harsh weather have really taken a toll on its foundations. The Atlante del Sol, the ambitious investment, the grand vision, the colossal and almost unbelievable dream of a German businessman who was living in Lanzarote at the time, a man who wanted more than anything to build a truly massive, world-class mega hotel right here on this very spot, in this exact location, right next to some very well-known swimming pools.
The building has 3 wings already built because it was meant to be much larger. For now, they only finished these 3 wings. It's shaped like a sort of C. We've counted about 250 rooms that could easily have been housed here. This wing right here that we are looking at was almost finished. I mean, it was very close to being ready for operation. In fact, it had the wooden door frames in, the false ceilings were up, the bathtubs were installed, and it was high-quality Riga wood. And we're telling you all this because we just spoke with a gentleman who spent many summers living right here. They'd spend the 3 summer months here, taking 3 rooms, one for his daughter and another for himself. They lived here during the summers and Easter week. It was their go-to vacation spot. In 1973, construction came to a halt, and many of those workers stayed on to live in the hotel itself. Even today, we think there are still people who come here to spend a few vacation days. We can see this little home with its padlock on, the LED light, and even some children's toys. So we believe that even now there's still life within these walls.
As of today, it's nothing more than a skeleton falling apart piece by piece. Look, right here, I think this was probably a bathroom. And you can see where the tiles have fallen off and everything. Yeah, it really is a bit creepy, not just because it's an abandoned site, but I think because of how it's been completely stripped bare. That gentleman told us there are entire houses on the island built using the Riga wood taken from here. And that many homes in Lanzarote actually have the bathtubs from this hotel. And well, the graffiti, the remains of... It's clear that many people have been living here for long periods of time. I think these walls hide so much, so very much. It's true that walking through here is eerie. It's giving me a bit of the creeps. And really, we can't say it enough, we're staying in the open areas at all times. We haven't gone inside the hotel because it looks like, well, some parts look like they could collapse at any moment, and that's exactly why we don't want to be the kind of people who promote a place just to get others to come. We're showing it to you here. We've shared images so you can see this dark history of the islands. Dark for the reasons I mentioned before, honestly. Tear it down. There are so many of these abandoned buildings that we've seen in La Palma, in Tenerife, in Fuerteventura. It's just crazy. So we've stayed in the open areas, we haven't taken any risks, but this is not a place for visitors. If anything, the message we want to send is to the relevant authorities to tear this down. This is a rural area, This should never have been allowed, and since it was, it should be torn down, because it can't be restored in any way now, so just tear it down and end this atrocity, because there's no other word for it. Just like this building, there are many structures in the Canaries that were never finished and can no longer be restored. They should be torn down. Meanwhile, thousands of families are still struggling for decent housing. Unfinished projects like this don't just spoil the landscape, they show what's wasted when what's already built isn't put to use. Furthermore, currently, across the Canary archipelago, there are around 9,000 properties that could be turned into social housing if they were finished or restored. For instance, in Lanzarote, in Costa Teguise, there's a concrete mass that's been unfinished for over 20 years, where nearly 90 families live among construction skeletons. All these construction remains reflect decades of failed projects that still haven't disappeared from the Canary map.